can make it there. I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Richie. On today's show, on this Monday morning, we're going to be hitting on NHL history being made. New York Islanders versus the Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin jumping the great one, Wayne Gretzky. We're going to hit on that. We have a first baseman that is extremely wealthy north of the border. We're going to hit on that, as well as a full scale on the happenings of Major League Baseball. New York Knicks point guard Jalen Brunson making a good return for the Knicks, who enjoyed a victory yesterday. And we're going to hit on a little bit of everything, ranging from the NFL to the Pittsburgh Pirates having an epic fail on something that is quite disrespectful to one of the game's late greats. Phillies and Dodgers, great series. I believe it could be a preview to something bigger. And we're going to start with this. Alex Ovechkin, 895th goal, makes him the king of kings in terms of goal scoring. Wayne Gretzky was in attendance to celebrate the accomplishment. The New York Islanders did get the victory 4-1, as they have still an outside, but a very long shot of making the playoffs, similar to my New York Rangers. Rangers are dead. Let me just get that out of the way. But the longevity to accomplish this kind of record, I mean, we saw it in the NBA not too long ago with LeBron James taking down Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who had the record for so many years for most points in the NBA. And I'm going to age myself right here. I never thought that I would see the Wayne Gretzky record go down. And I'm old enough to say that I remember Gretzky breaking the great Gordie Howe's record. So this is really substantial. And, just before the start of the NHL playoffs, the hockey's ratings have been up. I think Canada versus the USA really helped that metric. But this is exciting. And, the Capitals are playoff bound. I recently praised them on my show for having the courage to bust up a veteran roster last year to get younger, to keep a window alive for Ovechkin and co. Last year, they were schooled by the New York Rangers in the first round, but they have grown as a team this year. And although they take the L yesterday to the Islanders, um, you know, the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, are a second season. So the Capitals have as good a chance as anybody to represent the East, and we're going to see how that plays out. But a huge congratulations to Alex Ovechkin. Just been through the NHL wars. And I'm happy to say that in the playoffs, my New York Rangers, more times than not, have gotten the best of Alex Ovechkin. They've been able to defeat him. But what a great competitor. And if you love the game of hockey, or if you just admire great accomplishments, this is a very big deal. This is in the territory of Judge 62. This is in the territory of what LeBron did, knocking down Kareem's record. This is a big deal. So congratulations to you, Alex Ovechkin, and good luck to the Washington Capitals in the playoffs. From a great accomplishment to a great contract, Vladimir Guerrero signs a huge extension, 14 years, 500 million per year. This is about 5 million less than what Aaron Judge is making. So when I consider that I look at Aaron Judge as the best offensive player in all of baseball, I think the Yankees got great value. Do I think the Blue Jays paid too much? I guess you could say that about any contract today in professional sports, but quite a turn, because I think in the offseason, a lot of people penciled in that this was Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s final season with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was linked to the Mets. He was linked to the Yankees. He was linked to a lot of teams. But 14 years, they're making the big investment in their superstar player, and he will be there for more than likely the remainder of his career. So, congrats to him on getting the deal. The Toronto Blue Jays have been a mixed bag in the early going of the season. They took a L yesterday to the New York Mets, 2-1. David Peterson actually had to leave the game. He was feeling a little ill. But the Blue Jays strike while the iron's hot. Vladimir Guerrero is locked in. So for a lot of people that maybe had plug-and-play starters for a year, my Yankees being one of them, Vladimir Guerrero is off the market. But a big deal for them. My New York Yankees falling short of the sweep in Pittsburgh. Today they are in the Motor City. Carlos Rodon takes the bump against a Detroit Tiger team who is not off to the best start, but a team that I have high aspirations for. This is a team last year that really overachieved, and I think that they're going places. That American League Central is very, very competitive, and even the Chicago White Sox look like they're not nearly as terrible as they were last year. But AJ Hinch, a guy who I can't stand going back to the Jordan Patrick show days, is a hell of a manager, though. You got to give him that. And I expect a really good series here. A really good series. Last year, in front of the kids for the Little League World Series, Yankees and Tigers put on quite a show. Yankees on a torrid pace with home runs right now. But I want to see more out of the starters. I want to see Carlos Rodon be able to mix his speed and just take control today and hopefully give the Yankees some length to give the bullpen a little bit of a rest. But going to be a good series. Absolutely going to be a good series. And, must see TV for the Philadelphia Phillies, Los Angeles Dodgers. Um, this is good for baseball when your superstars are on full display. And that's exactly what we saw in this series. Um, And I also think it's good to see the Dodgers lose the series early against another premier team. I know that it's only the beginning of the year, but coming in, I truly believe that these are the two best organizations currently in the National League. I'm sure the Arizona Diamondbacks would like to say something about that, as well as the San Diego Padres. San Francisco Giants are off to a pretty good start in their own right. But when I look at the rosters, I think that the Dodgers and the Phillies have the most to offer for anybody that's going to come out of the American League and face them. And I think these two, assuming that they could both stay relatively healthy, are on a collision course. The Dodgers have the luxury that even if they had a ton of injuries, they are so talented that they should still more than likely be okay. But the Phillies win the series. And got to be a confidence booster when you consider just how good the Los Angeles Dodgers are. They are the defending world champions for a reason, and they definitely are propped and in a position, given their limitless pockets, to potentially have a dynasty. But the Philadelphia Phillies are definitely a team that is set up to be in their way for the next few years. And you got to think that the boys and queens, the New York Mets, as they continue to possibly fill out that roster, maybe at the deadline, it's been a topic that they may need more pitching, but they're going to be around as well. I think I said it yesterday on the show. I think the Atlanta Braves coming out of the gate so poorly is probably the biggest shock of the young baseball season. And they didn't get a chance to get that second win as yesterday was postponed. One of my baseball heroes, now granted he was before my time, the legendary Roberto Clemente, who retired exactly at 3,000 hits, unfortunately lost his life doing something very charitable, bringing food and supplies to the underprivileged. Something very disrespectful, in my opinion, by his lone employer in Major League Baseball. They took away a sign honoring him in favor of a sponsorship for an alcohol. I'm not sure what the brand of the alcohol was, nor do I care. The Clemente family is not necessarily upset that it happened, more upset that the Pittsburgh Pirates did not do a good job of communicating with them. I'm on the side of the Clemente family. Roberto Clemente's award is given to exemplary performance on and off the field. And similar to the Walter Payton Award in the NFL, it's the creme de la creme of human beings that win that award. And I'm very proud to say that Aaron Judge has won that award. But the Pirates need to make this right. Very unacceptable, as if it's not maddening enough that the Pirates always get great talent and never keep anyone. But Roberto Clemente, one of the greatest baseball players to ever lived, a hero, a true hero in his island of Puerto Rico. And even though he's been gone for so many years, one of just the most revered baseball players in any and all time. They need to make this right. Unacceptable. Not a good job, Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm very disappointed. Gonna change gears here and give you guys an NBA playoff outlook. The playoffs are around the corner in the National Basketball Association, and I think it's kind of wide open, if you ask me. I think things can literally go in any direction, and it will be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Just bear with me. I'm actually trying to pick up this metric that I found. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. I have so many pictures in here that's just going to take a moment to bring this up. All right, it's arriving. This is currently the outlook in the NBA. It's not the traditional how it used to be 1 through 8. You got the play-in games. Is anybody in the play-in games good enough to even so much as knock off one of the big dogs? I'll be honest. The Orlando Magic, although they are under 500, have a great deal of talent, a great deal of youth, and I don't really think that they are fixated nor worried about that maybe they're not supposed to beat a team like the Celtics. They should be able, assuming that this table stays the same, to defeat the Atlanta Hawks. I think for a team like my New York Knicks, who are hoping to not maybe play the Celtics or at least have the Magic lengthen the series, I do think that at minimum the Orlando Magic could do that. The Miami Heat have had a weird propensity, even in off years, to show up in the playoffs as a lower seeded team. I believe that they could potentially beat the Chicago Bulls, but I think they'll get flattened by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Based on what I see here early, I'm leaning towards the Milwaukee Bucks pulling the small upset against the Indiana Pacers. I like my Knicks to dispose of the Pistons in 6 hard-fought games, possibly 5. Now out west, the Houston Rockets is an interesting one because they don't have a ton of playoff experience with this roster, but they have high expectations given how great the regular season has gone for them. But when I look at the way that this Western Conference is laid out, I think the series, possibly the best series of the entire playoffs, could be round one in the event that the Lakers and Golden State Warriors face each other. But I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder finding a way to win the conference and go to the finals. I know a lot of people are hot for Cleveland, but I still think it's the Boston Celtics conference, and I think that they should get there. I got OKC and the Celtics going to the finals. What do all of you guys think? Get at me. Let me know. All right. From the NBA to the NFL, another mock draft. Shador, are the Giants going to find a way to bring him in? I tell you, this is one of the biggest decisions ever for this organization in terms of the trajectory and the futures of Joe Shane, Brian Dable. It's been no secret that the Giants have desperately needed a franchise quarterback. I see Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson as, band-aids for now. But it's going to be awfully intriguing should Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter be on the board, and it's going to be hard to justify not taking one of them because of the hyper talent and the positional value that they are literally the two best at their respective positions. I do think Shador Sanders, under the watchful eye of those two quarterbacks I just mentioned, could potentially be a phenomenal get for the New York Giants, and I am a little surprised at some of the hate the kids getting. But there's always overreactions in the this time of the season when it comes to what's happening in the NFL draft, and a lot of overreactions, a lot of strange rumors as well. Question to you, the viewing audience: will Aaron Rodgers play this year? Another day, another mock draft, as I already alluded to. I still think it's Pittsburgh, guys. Unless if you get a weird event like J.J. McCarthy should get hurt and then Minnesota changes their vision and maybe wants to bring in Rodgers. I'm actually quite surprised that the Vikings didn't want Rodgers. It's a ready to win now team, and they're going to give the keys over to J.J. McCarthy, who has never taken an NFL snap. I think it's quite risky because the Vikings were one win away from solidifying home field advantage in last year's NFC playoffs. So I am a little shocked in that regard. But Aaron Rodgers, it's a mixed bag. Obviously a lot of losing with the New York Jets. But when you look at his stat line last year, I think he actually played rather well considering that the offense was in shambles and the team direction was in shambles. The leadership, all the way down from the ownership, just not a good situation. I believe that if he didn't get hurt in year one, it could have completely played out differently. But I still think Aaron Rodgers has something to offer. And I still think that he's going to be on an NFL roster. So, I imagine the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be in the market for a quarterback. Will it be Jackson Dart? Will it be Tyler Shaw? Will it be will it be Jalen Milroe? I don't know. Will Howard maybe, but the Steelers definitely might draft somebody. I still think you have to enhance that quarterback room and bring in the veteran, considering that they didn't bring back Russ and considering that they bypassed on Jameis Winston. So it will be rather interesting to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers do. It will be interesting in the event that Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers are on the same team. It will be. Um, I think you have to bring him in that division. When you have Joe Burrow, you got Lamar Jackson, you have hyper talented quarterbacks in that division, and the Steelers are going to be behind the eight ball if they cannot get somebody to counter what the rest of the division has. Of course, the Cleveland Browns also in the market for a quarterback as well. So it will be interesting. And no, Aaron Rodgers will not go to Cleveland. Jalen Brunson returning yesterday. Really good to see him back on the court. New York Knicks win relatively easy over a banged up Phoenix Suns team. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is about fine tuning. This is about getting your bodies right. This is about getting ready for the NBA playoffs, which is another season. It's a second season. The New York Knicks are capable of making some noise. They are capable of overachieving. They are capable of defeating the Celtics and the Cavaliers if they play their game. But they're also capable of getting knocked out in round one. And that is the caveat. What is interesting with the New York Knicks, I seriously feel that this team does indeed miss Dante DiVincenzo. I would like to see the Knicks add a little more shooting depth on this team. And I want to see Tom Thibodeau use the bench the right way. I will say this: an early exit in the playoffs could lead to the departure of Tom Thibodeau, as I think upstairs might be getting a little impatient. In the NBA, you only have so many years to win with a certain squad. And I think the Knicks know that this team, although they might not be good enough to make the NBA Finals, is still a special roster. So it will be interesting to see how the New York Knicks approach the offseason, assuming that they don't do as well as I'm hoping they do. But definitely looking forward for the NBA playoffs. Definitely bummed that the New York Rangers are not going to be in the NHL playoffs, barring a minor miracle in the near future. Gotta say, I am stoked about the New York Yankees. Little annoyed that they lost yesterday, but you can't win every day. I was enthused with the late comeback. I love the at bats that Trent Grisham is making lately. Definitely a contributor that you didn't see coming, and the Yankees need that and all of that. I'm looking forward to these arms returning. I've said it on many shows. I think the Yankees have the ability to really shorten the games and make things hard for any and all opposition once the entire bullpen gets healthy. And I think they have a legitimate closer. Actually, they have two, because in the event that Williams gets hurt, I think Weaver can also step up and do what he has to do. My final thought for today: Antonio Brown. Crazy, raising all that money for a man who left his children to go to a job interview. A little bit of lying on one end. Antonio Brown has done some outrageous things. I am not making fun of Antonio Brown. I want to make that clear. But I do believe that that horrific hit from Vontez Burfict on Antonio Brown has left some lasting effects. I just want Antonio Brown to be healthy. I want everybody to be healthy, whether I like you or not. I have nothing against Antonio Brown. I think it's very sad what has happened to him. You know, he was a surefire Hall of Famer. New York Giants, last thought on them: just get the best player on the board at 3, unless you get blown out of the water with a great deal. I'm okay with Shador, but I would prefer to trade back to 6 or 7, maybe 8 to draft him. I still think he'll be on the board. I think Ashton Genty is going to probably go to the Raiders. New York Jets are an interesting wild card. Not quite sure where they want to go. They could be a threat to snag Shador, but I see the Jets getting possibly an offensive lineman or adding to their defense, because they did address the quarterback situation with Justin Fields. So we're going to see how that goes there. Um, I'm an advocate for the Giants adding a running back potentially, but friend of the show, Doug Rush, who does a great job of keeping everybody informed, made a good point. Maybe this is the year that they allow Turbo Miller to take a bigger role in the offense, alleviating some of the pressure off of Tyrone Tracy, who had a good rookie campaign, the converted wide receiver, now running back. New York Giants need to fix the interior of the O line. They desperately need a guard. I would love Travis Hunter to be the corner opposite of Paulson Adebo. I like the way the secondary looks, but let's say hypothetically of Abdul Carter. Look at this. Ottavino is back with the Yankees. Breaking news after cutting him less than a week in. That is funny. I have to go update my show again. I recently DFA'd him, and now I'm going to go try to pick him back up in MLB The Show. I have an outdated version of MLB The Show, but I downloaded all the new rosters. So it's essentially like having a new baseball game. It's not like Madden. I think you could get away with not buying the show every year if you're a sports uh, video gamer. But Madden, you got to get it every year, in my genuine opinion. Not the biggest video game guy because I just don't have enough time, but I do love some sports games occasionally, and I do enjoy the GTAs as well. Mock draft season is upon us. We're going to be getting it in with a lot of that. Talk to my man Idris Salam briefly today. We're going to be putting out some new material very soon. Make it a point to check out The Vicious Mix, The V Mix, on live365.com, where you could check out Idris doing what he does best, which is mixing music. The guy's a genius. Check out The Casual Convo Show every Wednesday from 8 to 10, as well as The Basement Show with Johnny Nast. Check out The Bleed Blue Show with my guy, Steve Azul, and the family over there. Until next time, I am Richie. Make today count. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'm going to get in the yard and do a little work. And, every day is a blessing, man. Waking up every day, one of the most underrated blessings ever. So let's be thankful and happy. And let's not stress all the things that we don't have. Let's be thankful for the things that we do. And in that regard, we are all so very rich. Until next time, enjoy your day. I am Richie.